I warned you, this office is sexually charged. It amounts to a hostile working environment. They can legislate how she dresses.
Elaine, where do you draw that line? I mean, with all due respect, you sort of walk around with uppity breasts, and the hair flips aren't the most subtle, and your perfume, you could be flammable. Now, what if somebody shut you down as a safety hazard? How would you feel then?
I stayed home and raised our children while he advanced up the corporate ladder. He said he knew he couldn't hold me to a prenup. This battle over the prenups is what's holding things up.
Would you mind turning on the faucet? I have a bashful bladder.
And how impressed do you think the big client was to see you repeatedly reach for your left nostril during that impromptu excavation project?
I had to address my nose, Richard. The client could hear the whistling. When I couldn't rectify the problem with a quick sniff, I had to make a judgment call.
And it was your considered judgment to take your index finger and corkscrew it.
I nudged it. There was never a corkscrew motion, and I will not stand to be disparaged.
I am not even going to dignify that lawsuit.
Richard, if we don't come to the table, we'll be faced with the walkout. You know Allie. She can't even sit on a toilet without drumming up a little drama.
Yeah.
The quick research says an oral revocation won't supersede the prenup.
Your husband does have a record of being a womanizer. That kind of stuff, that's laundry he probably doesn't want to air out.
Well, that's not something I particularly want to air out either.
Basically, you're nuts between me and a hard place here.
That does not make out a case for sexual harassment.
And the delivery girl gets discharged with prejudice.
No, she's represented by counsel. We really shouldn't talk to her.
No, it's just that what I'm about to say may seem like an insult, so I want to buffer it.
Renee, I am not capable of just conjuring up a look like that on command.
Have you come in here to negotiate? I'm represented by counsel.
I've come to use the facilities.
I know your rituals. You're not a morning person.
Came here in good faith, but
Good
obviously...
faith? You're taking the position of good faith?
It's pound the flesh time, Marcy? That it?
Rather than hold this over everybody's head, we'd prefer to push it to a head. That's the best way for us all to move ahead.
How many women here, if we don't cede to the demands of Elaine's complaint, are prepared to walk out tomorrow?
I am a big fan of being honest, but I can only be so strong, and I think there are certain territories that we just should stay clear of.
Well, that's certainly your limited opinion.
On a whim, I had Hatfield bottled last night.
Richard, this is gumshoe law. We are not that kind of lawyer.
Tailing somebody, invading their privacy?
I'll take the meeting if necessary, but I think that sends a mixed message. We can't have opposing counsel smelling dissension.
You can live with yourself pulling this kind of slime?
We can live with ourselves just fine.
I realize employees will always gripe. It's part of being an employee. But this lawsuit, this carries the gripe too far. It saps the fun out of it for me.
The strike was really a formality.
You called their bluff.
But if you want to be rich, you better get the money before the scruples set in. That's a, you know.
Fishism.
Allie and I are so similar.
Yeah, spitting image.
Don't beat yourself up too much over that photograph thing, Allie. We should only hope that that's as dirty as our hands get on this job.
Free fall with the truth, hope we both survive. Deal?